about a month after buying this boat for 2,000 euros, I found a lot of rot in the cabin tops here. The windows had been screwed in with 2 screws, no sealant, and that had essentially allowed the boat to slowly be sinking over 10 years. When I found this rot, my exact words were, "Moist windows." Let's put a spanner in the works. I'll just wait until I get to a boatyard. I would hope 2 weeks extra work. Well, it's been 2 weeks in a boatyard and the problem has been solved, as you can see. However, I did have to cut quite a lot of the corners to get this job done. Like I said, it was 2 weeks in the boatyard and this is the first week. Go easy on me with this one. Thanks for watching. So the weather's been so good, it's been so dry, up to like 30 degrees. Obviously we took off the windows to let everything air out, so everything's dried up pretty nicely. These window openings are quite a mess, so I'm just gonna sand it down, see if the plywood's worth gluing back together or replacing completely or just chipping out. We'll have a look. So this is probably one of the worst ones, but yeah. Need to think about this for a little bit. So before I decide what I'm going to do, I'm really curious to see what the construction of it is. I do have the plans, but I feel like the stringers might be placed in different places. Anyway, this is my living hull and this is completely rotten. All this needs changing anyway, so I'll just cut out a little bit just so I can see how it is. I think there used to be a window here and it's been boarded over, but the repair has not gone to plan. I think the previous owner or somebody put polystyrene as insulation. The whole boat is insulated as well. Yeah, I'll just cut out a little bit and see how the stringers go. So I've kind of got to know the structure a little bit of these cabin tops, and yeah, that work will be completed later. I'm going to focus on the windows. I'm going to do the least destructive way. I'm going to use this first window as a bit of a guinea pig. I'm going to try the least destructive way, that being chipping out all the rotten plywood, pouring in epoxy, filling perhaps with some more plywood, and then glassing over everything. I think if I do it that way it will be quite strong and I don't have to cut out the whole panel and replace the whole panel. That may even turn out to be the better way of doing it. Nice to see a familiar face. He's come in his boat and he's helping me to sand around the window frames. So I've been gouging out all the rotten plywood and yeah, just sanding around it because eventually I'll have to prime and put more fiberglass and everything around it. So I've just been drilling out the holes on every single window, and some of it, the plywood's coming out dry, some of it's still pretty wet. So yeah, the way that I'm doing this is the fast way. Thanks, Rahul. Thanks, Oram, for the moral support.
Yeah, I needed it. I needed it. It was like so dusty and everything.
I gave him just one glass of stuff.
Yeah, but
He became alive again.
Yes, and we're back at backstage. We're backstage.
Be careful.
So nice to be back with Roll and backstage.
Is this one your boat?
Yes.
My God, this is real adventure.
Is it real adventure?
Well, it has no sails.
The sails are currently in Betondorp. The mast is in my harbor and the sails are in the storage.
Wait. Good life. I got so much freedom, man. So much freedom that I even come here pure at freedom, just grinding. Because I like to.
Yeah, you ground. He was sanding and grinding for 30 minutes. He's got no idea.
You touch it.
Look at him. I was just saying, you spent 30 minutes grinding. Yeah?
Too much.
And your life's come to an end.
It's enough. It's enough for me. It's like so much work.
I'm 100% focused on two things. My videos and the work that I do on Mahi. So the essential things such as feeding yourself is really difficult. However, Oram, this lovely Turkish fellow here, who has a boat across the way, we've set in an initial agreement. Tomorrow, for 1 hour, I will sort out...
Not 1 hour, no, don't lie.
And in return,
No,
delicious
not 1
Turkish meals. Look, Oram.
Just the line. I show you the line, red line.
Yeah.
Come, it's getting cold.
So I have to sand all of your boat for this meal?
You must decide quickly.
Oh my God.
Turkish pizza. You must film it in this way, close up. I closed up 20 years.
What does that mean?
Some people know what I mean.
It's for sorting out the bottom of your boat. 7 days meals like this. Can we get an agreement? This is the first time I've seen cloud in weeks. It's gonna rain today for the first time in 2 weeks. This weather's been unbelievable. So yeah, so far we've pretty much ground out most of the rot. The way that I'm doing these windows is definitely not the best way to do it, but it's gonna be a lot faster. I think that the effect that it will have will be the same as doing it properly. It's just there's potentially going to be a little bit of moisture trapped in the cabin tops. Tried to get a lot of it out, but yeah, the alternative is to basically tear down all of the cabin tops and redo everything, but there's so many really important jobs to do structurally as well, with the beams and everything, so it doesn't make sense spending like a month doing that, because I think it would be a month. Today I'm going to start filling up this hull. I've bought a big tarp to cover the whole boat, or it's 8 meters by 10 meters. This boat is 12.8 by 6.8, so it will cover the whole boat, keep it dry. Hopefully I can even work when it's raining as well. Time to get filling some holes. So I've just been creating these little veneers which are going to save me that much volume in epoxy. They're going to fit in really roughly. Also I need like 9mm plywood, this is 10mm plywood, so I have to plane it down because they don't have it in the shop over there. The rot's really not that deep, so I've just created these kind of thin ones. Just saved me a lot of epoxy. So I'm going to start just with pouring resin in. Today, a lot of sanding back the excess fiberglass filler. It's a really grim job. While I do that, Rule's gonna build a backing plate for the aft beam. So these 4 bolts don't have any backing plate or anything on them, and these hold the aft beam, which is it's going to be having some loads on it, I think. So definitely need to sort those out.
Okay.
Sanding all day, sanding around these window frames, and I've got the shape and I'm really happy with it. I need to go over a few bits on pretty much every window. There's a few little voids, so I've got an extra fine powder which I'll mix with epoxy to fill in the little teeny tiny holes. It'll be one more round of sanding and then painting. So I'm using this microlight stuff, 2 scoops per 1 pump, so this is ultra fine. Look at this stuff. 2, 3, start with 5. Raoul, you're going to show us your workings today? Oh, it's so grim in here, eh?
I made a small backing plate. Still need to cut these holes, these 2 holes here.
Yeah.
I can disconnect it maybe.
You see it? It's we need different screws.
Yeah, they were really not screwed through very well, eh?
No.
So it's a very like awkward place to have a backing point. So, had an absolute nightmare today. Went to sand this filler that I've done and the epoxy's not set properly. It's a real nightmare. All the epoxy before it and everything I'd done had set lovelyly, but this one, yeah, it's clogging up the sandpaper within seconds. It leaves a sticky residue, and to go back over everything, clogging sandpaper discs is going to be such a big job. It's such a pain in the ass. I'm so disappointed. Guess I just have to scrape as much off as possible and then go in with the sandpaper. Now to put the latest helper on the spot. These guys who just sit here talking all the time.
Working? Why work?
I'm joking, I'm joking. John has joined us for a few days, all the way from the UK. Replied to the call. How does it feel to be here?
Surreal.
Yeah, is it weird?
It's weird being on a camera. It's not my usual habitat.
Okay, no worries. Well,
You'll get used to it.
now hundreds of thousands of people are going to see it, so no pressure.
No pressure at all.
So I've put John in charge of making some floorboards for. Well, there's also one in that hole as well, but for the ones in here.
There's more.
Yeah, one more in there, and also a hatch. Non-sponsored tool talk. I recently I've been thinking less about cost and more about convenience and getting the right tool for the job. So I bought the most expensive orbital sander because this is a tool that I'm going to be using so much. So I bought this Stanley Fat Max. It was the most expensive one there. It's something like 110 euros, but I thought because it's something that I'm going to be using all the time, it's a super useful thing to have. However, when I was trying to take off that unset epoxy, it wasn't really doing too much of a good job. However, I was using a high speed, and John, who's obviously just come to help out, he's actually brought an even more expensive tool here. And this is a Merca, which is a Finnish company, and I've been using this actually to take off the unset fairing compound with these pads, which are also quite expensive. It's done such a good job and has made my day so much better just by using it. This tool actually costs around £450 British. The difference that it's made today for me has been unbelievable. So I don't really know too much about the tool. All I know is it's expensive, but it's really good, and it's called Merca. Perhaps you guys have had some experience with these tools, but this I'm also super duper happy with. It's doing all the jobs that I need it to do really well, apart from today with that dodgy epoxy. But this is really helping me. Very agile and nice. Everyone warned me. Everyone warned me. Boss over there said 30 minutes. I said, yeah. So Sylvia, how do you feel about being given the task of cleaning this hole?
Yeah, it's okay. As long as it can be useful, it's alright.
It's actually been quite a long day of sanding. Obviously my number one goal right now is to get the windows in and to get everything sealed up. I've sanded back all the cabin tops to the white epoxy paint. The chain plates were put on by the previous owner in a pretty random place and they were just epoxied in, so there's this huge mountain of epoxy. John shaved that down nicely on the cabin tops on the other side and he's going to do it again now. So let me update you from my new aft cabin berth prepared by Sylvia, thank you very much. Let me update you while some very generous people show up. We've got my patrons there for $5 a month. You don't really get much in return, so thank you very much. And also the people that supported me through PayPal and coffee over the last week. So thank you guys very, very much. Sylvia's made this all nice and clean. John has done some boards, so it's a proper berth now. Yeah, so thanks to you guys, thanks to Rule, thanks to Allram, thanks to everyone who appeared in the episode. The backing plate there has quite a few problems on the other side. It's completely rotten, so that's kind of been put to the back of the jobs list while all that gets sorted. My windows are done now and you'll see how I did them in next week's video. It may also raise a few eyebrows as well, but so far I'm pretty happy with it. And the job that I did, including, you know, this week's video, it's obviously not the best way to do it, but I think that it's fine. I think it's fine, but only time will tell. We'll see. So right now I'm in the process of sealing up all my through holes. Quite a few people mentioned whether I should keep one open for a water maker. However, I think if I get a water maker, I'll just run the pipe out through one of the side windows into the water and just tactically get my water like that. Yeah, I really like the idea of not having any through hull fittings. My dad is most likely going to make the engine mounts from the Warren plans sent to me by Hanneke Bone. So thank you so much, Hanneke, if you're watching this, and also thanks Dad for starting those engine mounts. So that's another huge job, you know, potentially ticked off the list without me having to do too much. So thanks Dad, thanks Hanneke. Next week, more progress, more updates. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your support. Thank you again to my coffee PayPalers. Thanks for watching, leaving comments, advice. Like I said, go easy on me in this week's video and next week's video. But yeah, thanks again for watching. See you next week.